When you yell at your cat, do you actually know what's happening inside their mind? Look, it happens. Maybe they knock something off the counter or scratch the couch for the 100th time.
But here's what most owners never realize. Your cat isn't hearing a correction. They're hearing a threat. And if you keep doing it,
which most owners do without thinking, you might be quietly breaking something in your cat that doesn't come back easily. Let's start with what your voice actually sounds like to them.
1. Your voice sounds like a predator to them. Have you ever wondered why your cat bolts out of the room?
The second you raise your voice, even when you're not yelling at them. Here's something most people don't think about.
Cats can hear frequencies up to 64,000 hertz. That's nearly 3 times the upper range of human hearing. Their ears evolve.
So when you suddenly raise your voice in a quiet room, you're not just being loud to them, you're being overwhelmingly loud.
What feels like a firm no to you can hit their ears like a shockwave they weren't built to handle in close range.
And here's where it gets worse. Cats don't understand punishment. Veterinary behaviorists have been clear about this for years.
Bad cat. Look what you did to my favorite vase! You are in so much trouble right now!
The person they live with are suddenly a source of something scary. The behavior doesn't get corrected. The trust gets damaged.
Research discussed by veterinary sources like PetMD has shown that cats exposed to harsh vocal tones and anger in the household develop heightened anxiety and confusion.
They don't learn what they did wrong. They learn that their environment isn't safe. And that feeling doesn't stay in one moment. It lingers. Now, what makes this even more important is something we're going to get to toward the end of this video. Because yelling doesn't just scare your cat in the moment. It changes something in how they remember you. And most owners have no idea that's even happening.
2. The invisible wall it builds between you two. Have you ever noticed your cat sitting across the room watching you but never actually coming closer? Most owners chalk this up to personality. Oh, they're just independent. But here's what a lot of people miss. If your cat used to greet you at the door, used to curl up next to you on the couch, used to slow blink at you from across the room, and now they don't,
something changed. And it probably wasn't their personality. Cats build trust through repetition.
Every calm interaction, every gentle voice, every predictable moment reinforces the same message. You're safe.
But yelling does the opposite. It introduces unpredictability. And for a cat, unpredictability is the single fastest way to destroy a bond. Think about it from their perspective. They can't ask you what's wrong. They can't understand that you had a rough day at work, or that you didn't mean it. All they experience is this. One moment everything was fine, and the next, the loudest thing in the room was pointed directly at them.
They make a quiet decision. They stop approaching. They stop initiating. They still live in your house, but emotionally, they've moved out.
Veterinary behaviorists describe this as learned avoidance. Your cat isn't being cold or stubborn. They're protecting themselves.
And the heartbreaking part is that most owners don't even notice it's happening because the change is so gradual.
One less head bump here, one fewer slow blink there, until one day you realize your cat barely interacts with you anymore, and you can't pinpoint when it started. And hey, if this is hitting different right now, hit like and subscribe so we can share this with more cat owners who deserve to know what their voice actually sounds like on the other side of those ears. 3. The body keeps the score. Yes, even for cats.
Did you know your cat can look completely fine on the outside and still be falling apart on the inside? Most people think a stressed cat looks dramatic, hissing, hiding, running away. And sure, sometimes it does. But chronic stress, the kind that builds up from repeated yelling over weeks and months,
often shows up in ways you'd never connect back to your voice. It starts small. Maybe they stop eating as much.
Maybe they start over-grooming one spot on their belly until the fur thins out.
Maybe they start missing the litter box, even though nothing else in the house has changed. These aren't random quirks.
These are stress responses, and veterinary behaviorists have documented them again and again in cats living in unpredictable or tense environments.
Here's the science behind it. When a cat experiences repeated stress, their body releases cortisol, the same stress hormone.
It helps them react to real danger. But when the stress doesn't stop, when the yelling keeps happening and the environment never feels settled, cortisol stays elevated.
And that's when things start breaking down. Chronic cortisol elevation in cats has been linked to weakened immune function, digestive issues,
a painful urinary condition that veterinarians increasingly connect to emotional stress rather than infection. Your cat isn't acting out. Their body is responding to an environment that never lets them fully relax.
And the tricky part? Most owners treat the symptoms. They switch the food, they change the litter, they take them to the vet and run tests.
But if the root cause is a home that feels emotionally unsafe, no amount of diet changes will fix what's really going on.
4. What to do instead. The reset that actually works. What if the most effective way to correct your cat had nothing to do with your voice at all? Most owners yell because they don't know what else to do. The cat knocks something over, scratches the furniture, bites a cord.
And in that moment, raising your voice feels like the only tool you have. But here's the thing, yelling was never a tool. It was always just a reaction.
And once you replace it with something that actually works, you'll wonder why you ever thought volume was the answer. The first shift. It's making the counter less appealing and giving them a better option. A tall cat tree near the kitchen window. A shelf they're allowed to climb.
When the alternative is more interesting than the thing you don't want them doing, the problem solves itself without a single word.
The second shift is your voice.
You don't have to go silent.
In fact, talking to your cat is one of the best things you can do for your...
It's about how you sound. Cats are incredibly responsive to vocal tone. A low, slow, steady voice signals calm and safety.
A sudden sharp tone signals danger.
Don't do that.
You can say, "Don't do that," in a way that redirects without triggering fear. It's the difference between guiding them and scaring them. The third shift is the one most people skip entirely.
Rewarding the behavior you actually want. When your cat uses the scratching post instead of the couch, that's your moment. A treat, a slow blink, a calm good in that low, steady voice. Cats repeat behaviors that lead to positive outcomes far more reliably than they avoid behaviors that lead to punishment. But what they do hold on to deeply is emotional association. And that's actually worse.
That's exactly what we're getting to next. 5. The thing they never forget. Do you know what your cat remembers most about you? It's not the treats. It's not the toys.
It's how you made them feel when things got tense. This is the part I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and it's the one that changes everything once you understand it.
Cats don't process memory the way we do. They don't replay conversations or hold grudges over specific events. But what they do hold on to deeply is emotional association. And that's actually worse.
Your cat doesn't remember that you yelled on a Tuesday night because they knocked over a glass. What they remember is the feeling. The spike in their chest, the sound that filled the room, and most importantly, who it came from. Over time, those emotional memories stack. And they don't stack in a way that your cat can sort through and rationalize. They stack in a way that quietly reshapes how your cat feels every time you walk into the room. Researchers in animal cognition have found that cats form long-term associations between people and emotional experiences.
A cat who has been repeatedly startled or frightened by someone doesn't just avoid the behavior that caused it. They avoid the person.
Not out of spite, out of self-preservation. Their brain has categorized you not as a threat in one moment, but as someone who is emotionally unpredictable.
And for a cat, unpredictable and unsafe mean the same thing.
But here's the part that makes all of this worth hearing. That system works both ways. The same emotional memory that records fear also records safety. Every time you speak softly, every time you sit near them without demanding their attention, every time you let them come to you instead of reaching for them, you're writing over the old record. Not erasing it, but building something stronger on top of it. Cats don't forgive the way we understand forgiveness. But they do update. They do recalibrate. And if you give them enough consistent evidence that you've changed, they will slowly, on their own terms, start to come back.